Hey everyone, how's it going today? And welcome back to another second stimulus check and second stimulus package unemployment benefits extension update. And I hope everyone is doing well today. So we do have brand new updates about the unemployment situation, specifically about the $300 booster and also about the PUA and PUC. So we do have brand new information if you guys are someone that's still waiting for your unemployment about when you guys should hopefully be able to expect it, because I believe at this time, the really great news to share is that more than half of this country has officially started to roll out their unemployment payments. I believe right now we stand at about 30 something states. So if you haven't actually received it, then definitely stay strong and hold on there, because you probably will hopefully be next or something hopefully in the near future. But more than half of this state or half of this country has officially gotten some level of unemployment. So we're gonna get started right away, but before we begin, make sure you smash the like button in light of this really great news. Consider subscribing and hitting the bell to join in for future updates on stimulus and unemployment. And also consider commenting your state and whether or not you've received your stimulus check and or your unemployment yet, because it's always, as we've mentioned, is that the most official information that we will always receive is going to be from people in a particular state living that particular experience firsthand than almost any kind of news article. And it's also actually because sometimes I use it to kind of also, I guess you can say, cross-check a lot of the different sources across different sites and information to try to come up with the most accurate information to share. And as always is also because then if there's someone that maybe comes by your comment that's also in your particular state, they can also know about it as well. Now I do also want to actually also clarify and explain a little bit about how the arrival and delivery dates work, because I know there was a very common question, and I know some people were basically doing their research on the side and they might have maybe came across one article and suddenly that article apparently claims that 35 states have paid, and then you might find another article that says 15 states have paid, and they both happen to come out on the same exact day, and you might now be wondering, well, which one is it? Is it 35 or 15? So we're gonna address that in today's video. So with that being said, let's get this video started. So as always, we're going to start by basically throwing up this table up right here. Now, there is a lot of stuff I do really want to address that isn't fully explained inside of this table, especially because I do know there were many questions. For example, some people were running into situations where they maybe were trying to find resources on their own, and maybe one article said that 30 states have been paid, another one says 20 states have been paid, and they came out on the same exact day. So you might be wondering, which one is it? So the story right now is that basically the answer is that all of these articles are actually correct, but it just really depends on how you define it. That's kind of why you may have different articles that seem to be stating different things, even though they were basically, well, they both came out on the same exact day. The reason why is because, and this kind of explains why, if you see your state and it just so happens that maybe there is a date on it that has either already happened, but then next to the status it says still pending, the reason why is actually because many states do it in very different orders. And so the idea is that there are some states that have actually already paid their unemployment, but they've only paid maybe people on traditional unemployment and not yet paid people on PUA unemployment. And then there's maybe some that have actually done the reverse. And then there are some states that maybe have actually paid in its entirety. They've actually paid both people that are on PUA and also on traditional. Then there's also some states that have actually given extra dates, so now have officially extended the PUA and the PUC, giving extra dates, but they haven't actually even paid out the $300 yet. So that's kind of the reason why, if you try to cross-check with a lot of different websites, or if you're looking at this table and maybe confused about why there's a date, but then suddenly the status next to it says pending, the reason is actually because technically all of them are correct. It just kind of depends on how you define it. I know that there are some articles online that will say maybe 38 states have been paid, but maybe 3 of those states, by logic, you know, they gave the extension for PUA and PUC, so they have officially started to pay yet, but what they have not paid is the $300. But since they counted it as a paid state, that's kind of why maybe you see a larger number. So it really depends on how you define paid. So hopefully that better clarifies things if you happen to, for example, like see someone who apparently is in your state and suddenly has already gotten your unemployment and you're wondering why you haven't gotten your unemployment yet, then it could be actually because there's a lot of variation in terms of the program, whether you're on EB, PEUC, PUA, or traditional. However, the general idea basically is that if you see your state and then you see a date next to your state, so specifically the date, the column with the dates in the middle, and there's a date that has officially already happened, but the status next to it also says paying, then it probably means that there's at least one person, not every single person, but at least one person from every single unemployment, so PUA, PUC, FB, EB, and traditional, that has received some level of payment to it. If you see a date that has already happened, but it still says pending, then the very, very likely is that it either is going through delays at this time, or even more likely is that it probably means that on that date, someone in your state has received their unemployment benefits extension, but however, it doesn't mean every single person, and it could be maybe because they only paid to, for example, people in traditional, but then there's still people in PUA that are currently waiting. But I believe the 18 states that universally, so at least one person from every program has officially received their unemployment, is going to be Alabama, Arizona, Connecticut, Delaware, Florida, Idaho, Illinois, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Nebraska, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Texas, Vermont, and West Virginia. Now, there are many, many states that have officially paid, but only to select people on select programs. I believe these states are California, Minnesota, Mississippi, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Oregon, South Carolina, South Dakota, and Utah. There are actually a few people in California that have actually received their unemployment already, but not every single person. I believe most people haven't actually even received it in California yet, specifically because, as some of you guys might know, is that there recently was like a fraud situation where they basically flagged or froze a lot of different people's accounts in California. So most people I know in California are actually still very, very much waiting, but there are actually a few people, I think, that have actually reported that they have received some level of payment in California. So I believe that California is one of them that's hopefully starting to roll out very soon. Maybe comment down below if you're from California and whether or not you've received your payments so other people can know also. I think this upcoming week there are a few that have already started paying. I think that the big ones are really Georgia, Maine, Maryland, Montana, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. They're basically hoping to try to pay out this week, I believe. I believe Pennsylvania is planning to come almost any day now, so it could even come by the end of today or anything in the future next couple of dates. So hopefully this maybe gave you guys a little bit of a better time frame about when you guys can expect your unemployment. So again, keep in mind is that just because someone else in your state has officially received it, it doesn't mean that it's actually been delivered to everyone, because it might have just been people to traditional or only people to PUA, or they might even just be talking about the actual extension to get more dates within unemployment, so not actually the $300. Hence also hopefully that explains kind of like the difference. Now I do also want to answer maybe a very common question, which is about the recertification process, about whether or not you should recertify. So the answer to that question is that for most people, don't try to refile. Don't try to recertify again. And the reason why actually is because the overwhelming majority of states, I believe right now, the general idea is that they're hoping to roll on to the new unemployment programs automatically. So it should actually be a much smoother process, which is a good thing, because it does mean that hopefully it makes it a lot easier for us. If you try to make another claim, sometimes you might actually end up confusing the system. So it may actually end up leading to even more delays. I believe of the people that have already tried to make 2 different claims, most of the time actually probably nothing is going to happen. Most of the time, I think that the systems are probably smart enough that if you tried to file a new claim and you didn't have to file a new claim, then they're probably just going to take you off of that particular claim and then just keep you on one particular claim. Basically, the idea is that most of the time, even if you have already filed, they're probably going to just adjust their systems eventually anyway, but people still say to not refile or not to open a new claim, only because there is a risk that, and some people have already had that happen, where there is a risk that if you do it, they will maybe confuse the system and then lead to even more delays. So the best move right now for most people is really to just to hang tight and try to just wait it out, find other people maybe in the comments or just around the internet that or maybe friends you know in real life or coworkers, and then really just to be able to follow on with them. That probably really is the best move from now. I believe the only time that you should really ever have to recertify or open a new claim is really just if they tell you. Like if they specifically tell you to do so, or if you're planning to change your unemployment program. But even if that becomes the case, they probably will have to tell you to do that particular something. So for most people, I'd say over 90% of the people, is just hang tight and hope for the news to finally start to kind of roll out as soon as they can. More than half of this country has officially started, and hopefully the other half is going to do very, very soon. So hopefully that kind of answered most of your guys' questions. Again, hopefully if you guys found insight, remember to smash the like button if you guys found something insightful to this. Feel free to subscribe and hit the bell notification button to join in, and also consider commenting your state and whether or not you have received your unemployment so other people can hopefully also know as well. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much again.